This is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator Podcast, where CEOs, C-suite executives, and senior leaders share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I am Nick Solis. I'm the president and founder of 180 Realty and 180 Mortgage. So I help people buy, sell, and finance their property here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I also spend a lot of time working with our trade associations. So I'm heavily involved with trying to develop the policy and the procedures to best help our community and our industry. So I really enjoy trying to help people, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'll be especially interested to hear from somebody in your business and space, because we know real estate and stuff is such a hotbed up in Northern California that I'd be really curious to hear your perspective on a lot of these things. Now, question 2 for you. What's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
The best thing about trying to lead people is you get to help them get to where they want to go. And so everybody has these goals and their dreams, but they don't necessarily know how to get there, right? And so as somebody who's been around for a while, who's worked with a lot of different people, I've got a really good idea of how to take what your hopes and dreams are and trying to mold them into an action plan and one that you can follow through and create that success. So for me, I get a lot of pleasure out of seeing people get to where they want to go, and then just seeing the life-changing effects that happens to them and their families from it. It's just really cool.
That's amazing. And coming from the heart space, which is awesome as a leader. Question 3 for you. And this would be interesting, especially again, given in the real estate space and, kind of the government and, compliance world. I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you can't lead people without the people part, right? So pros and cons, right? At the end of the day, I was somebody who was looked over a lot of times. I grew up in a place where people kind of thought less of me because of where I came from. And I remember my first interview, they said, Nick, you sound like a great guy, but we don't think you're going to make it in the real estate business. Almost 17 years later, I'm still here, right? So for me, the whole people thing is, there's some good and there's some bad. And so you can't choose who you're going to pour into. You have to really help everybody. And there's some times where you kind of bite your tongue and you just feel, these people don't really appreciate me the way that I'd like them to. But the people who do appreciate you, they're the ones that always make it worthwhile. And so, when you really touch somebody and you make a difference in their life, you quickly forget about those other couple people that maybe frustrated you or disregarded your feelings and your intentionality to try to help them with their success. So, it's good and bad. You can't have the good people without some bad people as well. So you got to give everybody the same shot and just kind of see who rises to the top.
I love that. Just same as you can't have light without dark. You can't have happiness without sadness, right? You have to have them both. What other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast? I'm curious, what other voices out there do you find that we should be listening to?
I'm somebody who listens to a lot of different voices. If I just listened to people that was specifically in real estate, I wouldn't have the broad knowledge that I have. Talking to people that teach us how to work with difficult people, right? So just like the last question, inspire people, right? The days of bossing people around are, gone. You really need to inspire people. So listen to people that understand how to connect with people and to be able to find different ways to motivate them. People who understand the economy, who can see during this tough time what's happening. This is much different than any other recession, but being able to really kind of pinpoint what some opportunities would be and some different reflection points. People that are strategists, right? Because you can apply strategy to anything you do, especially in business. So being able to hear somebody how they put together a strategy, you could apply that to your business all the time. And then I'd say the last piece would be, folks that actually understand how to build a financial model. We're in a time where people's balance sheets are going to be stretched, right? It's going to be tough. And so, being able to look at alternative ways of financing, being able to structure different debt vehicles are going to be things that would be super important, not only for me and my industry, but across any industry.
I love all of that. And I think, again, the idea is look around you, right? And pay attention to, the community, there's lots of great people who are doing all these things, but diversify your perspective and make sure that you're gathering all those different insights.
Yeah, absolutely.
What piece of advice about communication would you give to other leaders?
Be intentional, speak from the heart. I was just talking to a good friend of mine who has become a mentor for me. And, he said, Nick, I'm really proud of you because you're showing that you're vulnerable. And I said, Ron, up until a few years ago, I thought that a leader had to be invincible, right? And so to have that persona that you walk around your organization, your office, that everything's perfect, you know what? It's not, let's be honest. And so, being real with the people that you're talking to. Now, you don't want to scare people. It's not about that. But, being intentional, being who you are, sticking to your core values. Because, if you put it up on the wall and you say, this is what we're about, and it's not what you do on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't stick. So, the biggest thing for communication would be genuine, be honest, and be intentional about what you're doing and what you're sharing with people, because you can't hide what's really going on.
And I would think right now during this crisis, right, the COVID crisis and things like that, the transparency is going to be critical to allowing people to feel safe and, to understand, because I think it's the uncertainty that's got people most concerned at this point, right?
Absolutely. And, let them know that I'm a little worried too, but I'm going to be an optimist. I'm going to look at what the opportunities are out of this, saying, okay, well, I'm in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm essentially stuck at home. I'm in a business that's not essential per the government per se. So what can I be doing? Well, I'm reaching out to people and I'm asking them, how are they doing? Right. So, communicating from the heart, that's the biggest thing, just finding a way to be able to relate to people is something that's, very, very important, especially now during this crisis.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny, in the time of social distancing, this is the time when we need to be coming together, more intently.
Sure.
And I think it's, again, how we treat each other and, how we listen and check in with one another. It doesn't necessarily have to be about proximity.
Yeah. So physical distancing, yes, but social distancing, no. You want to connect with people. You don't want to sell them anything. You don't want to, do anything like that, but connecting from the heart, again, is just, to me, the root of communication.
Love it. All right. Magic question number 6 for you. Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher who's really influenced you.
I've had a lot of people. To be honest, it wouldn't be fair for me to just name one, but there's been one common thread with all these different people, both male and female. It's to be reflective, to, be thoughtful, and to think through what you want to be and how you want to portray yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I've had a lot of very passionate people that have helped me through the years. And, again, that common thread is, stop and think about it. Stop and think about, what it is that you actually want to do. Don't react all the time. Stop and think, be strategic, not to be fake, but so you can understand all sides. As a human, it's easy to become emotionally charged. But when you take a step back and you look at all the different sides, you can really understand the best way to be able to either create an opportunity, fix an issue, to be able to communicate a little bit more clearly. So, it's the people who have taken the time, instead of teaching out of a textbook, they're really taking the time to, stimulate me mentally to stop and think about a better way to do something.
Well, and I got to give you credit for that, Nick, because the only way, somebody can stimulate you is if you're open to being stimulated, right? And so I think that's a big piece about, what you're talking about there is, the teacher presents himself when the student is ready.
Yeah.
And, so I love that takeaway, because I think it challenges all of us to really ask the question, what can I be learning? Who can I be learning it from? And, what's in this for me to take away?
Right. And they have to teach you to open up to think, right? Because, it's like you go to school and you're looking, at the syllabus, you're looking at the textbook, and, the best teachers use that as merely a point of reference, but more so they open up your mind and say, here are the things you need to be thinking about and why. And those are the ones that, in today's day and age, you put your phone down, you say, now I'm listening. Right. And so I think those are definitely, for me at least, been always the most effective people that have either been teachers or mentors for me.
Love it. Man, Nick, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all your insights. If somebody wants to reach out, how could they find you?
They can reach out to me in a few different ways. I'm on LinkedIn. So Nicholas Solis on LinkedIn. You could also find me on Facebook as well. And by email, my email is Nick, N-I-C-K, at 180realty.com, ONEREALTY.com. Look forward to connecting with anybody that just wants to share ideas or, just talk.
That's amazing. Well, again, thank you so much. And this is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator Podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.
Later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.